Oh, that's our cue. We're live. We have a studio audience, sort of. Welcome everyone to Spirit Talk Podcast. We are back. Kathy Beal got her quota of 2 astrology readings since
Thank you.
time, which is our quorum. So we got that, and we're excited. Kind of one at the last minute. So thanks for all the support. You will not be sorry you booked an amazing reading with Kathy Beal, because your astrology chart, because she's amazing, first of all, and your astrology chart is kind of a blueprint of your soul. That's how I would describe it, right? Have you described it like that?
I look at it as like it's your user manual. It's how you're wired. It's your wiring for how you work, how you operate.
We can all use a manual for life, for sure. Today is not April, I'm in the wrong month even. May 21st, and we just entered into the sign of Gemini. The full moon this week on Thursday is in my favorite sign of Sagittarius. So it's a lot going on. Special month. How are you doing?
I'm here. I am more exhausted than I've been in about 8 years, but I'm happy.
So
I've been producing a festival in Manhattan, celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Marx Brothers Broadway debut. And we had amazing, amazing things. Robert Klein held my hand yesterday. Yeah, life is good. So, and you go, I don't know who he is. No, there's more next weekend. I'm home briefly.
Nor did I follow the Marx Brothers, but I'm sure it's absolutely fascinating. Or you wouldn't be doing.
And next weekend will be at Coney Island, which is a completely different vibe, but we will be where Harpo got his start on stage. Will be a couple of feet down from it, actually. And Gabe Kaplan is going to talk to us about portraying Groucho and stuff that happened with the family. And I have a bunch of people who are going to talk about portraying Harpo, what that's been like. I'm looking at the astrology of the Marx Brothers and their relationship with their mother, who was the prototype of a stage mother. Absolutely engulfing personality. And I was stunned this weekend at how many people came up to me in the middle of all the Marx fan stuff, telling me they were looking forward to that talk. I was stunned specifically by the number of men telling me they were interested in that. So this is going to be a fascinating weekend.
Huh. So I detect a past lifetime there with you and the Marx Brothers. I don't know if you've
probably.
But yeah.
I've been told stuff. The 20s in New York City resonate really, really strongly with me. And there's a huge subculture in Manhattan, or actually now across everywhere, of people who are really, really caught up with literary and performing figures of that time period. So we had people there from the Al Hirschfeld Foundation. He was the caricaturist who would always put his daughter's name, Nina, at the bottom, and you could see. Anyway, you would recognize his style if you saw him. So his foundation was there, and someone from Alexander Wolcott was there. Wolcott was a radio host who was a big presence early in the 20th century, hardly known now unless you're an absolute literary history nerd. But he's the one who put the Marx Brothers on the map. He saw their opening night on Broadway. And that was part of their exploding into a phenomenon. They've been in vaudeville for 20 years. So this is what I have been caught up with, and also like not sleeping.
Is that because you're so busy and your brain doesn't shut off, or does it have to do with the astrology that's going on? Because I know
it has to do with being completely overloaded in the tasks, and also staying in Hamilton Heights and people having parties in the street or fights in the street at 4 a.m. or whatever. So I've been in a very different atmosphere. However, this does lead into very different atmosphere. We're moving into a very different atmosphere.
Well, good. I have a brand new different setting, as we all know by now, and it fits. Yeah, very different atmosphere astrologically. So switching to, and I am really curious about.
Oops, Annette has left. She's coming back.
Who left?
You left briefly.
Oh, I did notice a blinking.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of solar flares. Yeah, I do. I want to talk about the Marx Brothers at some point. Maybe next time we'll talk about it a little bit more too. And I've been thinking about your book, and I have not read it yet, but it's on my list of things to read. Is that going well?
Yes, very well. I'll be at a book festival in northern New Jersey early in June, and then I'll have a book signing in Houston,
And just
assuming the place gets rebuilt after all those winds.
oh man, and remind everyone the name of it and where they can get it.
The book is Confessions of a Third-Rate Goddess, Traipsing Through a World Gone Weird. And it's like chronicles of life in the 90s before social media, and like what was really happening when Sex and the City had a certain vision of single life.
Yeah,
much
but your
stranger.
book is like more relatable.
My book is like what really happened, and their Marx Brothers are in there too.
Now, speaking of
Briefly.
the 1990s, I recall that you mentioned something some time ago about around 1994-ish that
Yes.
we're going through something similar.
Yes.
Look back at where because I was thinking about that today. What was I doing in 1994? I was in Nashville, and there was a lot of tumult going on. I mean, it wasn't all bad, but it was unpredictable. It was erratic. It was a very erratic time in my life. What is the similarity to now from back?
Well, from 1994 to 1996, Saturn was in the sign where it currently is. And in fact, Saturn has moved more toward the 95 part of it now. And interestingly, Saturn's going to be a major player later this year, late August, and then at the very end of the year, in the charts of a whole bunch of people that we're seeing.
Is it remaining in Pisces?
Yeah, it'll be in Pisces until next year. But it also ties into this shift in energy because the full moon in Sagittarius is pretty much the last time we're going to have a whole bunch of energy in Taurus, oddly, in the sky, which is real rooted and focused on resources. And there's some unpredictability with it because of Uranus, this really disruptive influence, being in that sign. But starting this weekend, there's going to be like a march into the sign of Gemini. And by the new moon in Gemini, we're going to have you can spell that out that way. So the communication flow, the pace of life, being this very easily distracted, juggling many things. It's definitely, I call it short attention span theater. That was a show on Comedy Central in the 90s. And spoiler, there is a lot going on now that has an impact, a big impact on certain people. But that Gemini new moon is really important early in June. And as things spiral more and more into hectic and talking and the information flow going crazy, Saturn at the end of August and again at the end of December is going to have a containing, slowing down, let's put a lid on this effect on the and it's not necessarily bad crazy. I mean, I think people's moods are going to be significantly better. Gemini and Sag both have the ability to laugh. They can be very light about things, although Sagittarius can be my way or the highway about things.
Yeah, and well, I have a couple questions. One, I'm just sort of looking at my astrology calendar from here, and it looks like Thursday is like chock full of stuff astrologically.
That's the full moon.
Yeah, on the 23rd. And then you're talking about all this Gemini energy. Well, the sun just went into Gemini yesterday. And what else is going into Gemini?
On the 25th, Jupiter moves out of Taurus, which it's been traveling through for a year. Yeah. It spends 12 months or so in a sign. So on the 25th, it moves into Gemini, and it's going to be there into June of 2025. And it has a 12-year cycle. So you can look back 12 years. And fun fact, if you sign up for my newsletter, you get a Jupiter in Gemini quick reference guide as a download as a thank you. So that's out there for you. Then but Venus moves into Gemini. So Venus and
Wow.
I'm not sure when Mercury hits it, but Venus and the Sun and the Moon and Jupiter will all be, so 4 placements, they'll all be in Gemini by the 4th or so of June.
And then the new moon is what day?
The new moon is the 4th, I think, 4th or 6th. Hold on. At any rate, what's important about that, just as a let's not get, I don't want to derail us into talking about just jumping ahead to this, because we can talk a little bit about the Sagittarius full moon if you like. But
yeah, we don't have enough time because there's too much stuff to cover, but I have a ton of questions.
So should I just hold it? I'll hold the special importance of the Gemini new moon, because that's not here yet. I won't forget it. Don't worry. What are your questions? What are the questions?
I always have a ton of questions, because you'll say something that'll make me have a question about it. Like, what's the difference that you think we might feel ourselves between Jupiter being in Taurus and moving into Gemini? You said that's on
the 25th.
25th, right?
Jupiter in Taurus has, and it's real indulgent. I want to taste it, touch it, feel it. It's real excessive. Well, not in a bad way. It's just putting a lot of emphasis on the physicality of life, creature comforts, money, resources. When Jupiter moves into Gemini, it's all over the place. Jupiter enlarges whatever it goes into. And when it goes into, and it rules the sign of Sagittarius. So it kind of has a natural,
right.
It's not uncomfortable in the sign of Gemini. And so it's just going to increase communication issues, talk, thought, running around.
Yeah, Sag and Gemini have the highest compatibility in astrology, which I find interesting, because Geminis can be all over the place. But we all have our stuff. But I'm thinking about like Jupiter and Taurus, you're saying is, kind of like indulgent and all that. I don't really ever think of Taurus in that way. I feel like Taurus is more like almost like Virgo, like in its groundedness. So, but Jupiter would be the expansiveness of that. But is it erratic at all? Like I wouldn't think that.
No. Taurus is one of the more. It's very slow, steady. Yeah. But Jupiter is the indulgent influence. Jupiter is indulgence. So and Venus is indulgence. It's like, give me more. I want more.
All right. So it's like you threw a new ingredient into the recipe with the Jupiter, and that kind of makes it more, a little flamboyant, maybe.
Oh, it could be, but for some people, it could have been a time of economic growth or growth in resources or growth in creativity. Taurus rules the throat. It could be singing, music. Actually, what did you do lately? Actually producing a work of art instead of just thinking about it.
Right in line. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you recorded a song or more than one. You recorded songs, plural.
And I'm still in the process of that. Yeah, so that's great. And okay, so Gemini is a very chatty sign. It's an air sign. I think the challenges, like all the different signs and elements, the challenges with air signs are to not be. I often compare it to like being having laser focus, or being like a firework or a sparkler, right? So the Gemini energy, or the air sign energy, can be like really, to me, it's like really heady, really in your head. Like when I work with people that are air signs, I'm often finding myself going, take a deep breath and get in there, get in the body, like that, right? With air signs in general. So it feels like with the Jupiter and Taurus moving to Jupiter and Gemini, it feels to me like we're going to see people, like we've got a lot of Geminis and the public eye that are very nefarious characters. So they're already unleashed and off the rails. Are we going to see more of that with Jupiter going into Gemini? Because I don't know how much more we can take, frankly.
Well, what I'll say about that is end of August, end of the year, Saturn is going to have a whoa, 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 come back here. Let's redo this. Let's stop it. Impact. And anybody out there who actually watched Monty Python's Flying Circus on TV, early on, the credits of the show would, the opening credits would end with a giant foot coming down and squashing things. That's coming. End of August, end of the year. And yes, pretty much everybody you can think of that you're curious about has this hitting them.
Well, and you're saying vaudeville, and I'm like, I know she was in vaudeville. I know you're, because I read past lives. I'm like, Kathy was definitely in vaudeville. And I mentioned my ancestors were vaudeville performers on my dad's side, so there might be a connection there. But we're going to see some vaudeville, I think.
Well, there's a lot. You could see tomfoolery. You could see performance art.
Gosh, we're seeing it now.
But
so
here,
scary. It's so hilarious. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, and here's an upside. I mean, and we've already seen some of it. Some of these people have been modeling it, but it's really easy to go, oh, Gemini, flakiness all over the place. They're tricksters. There's duplicity. Yeah. They're there and then they're not there. I have experienced all those things. Yes, they are all true. However, there's a flexibility. So people might have different viewpoints. They might actually be curious. There's an intellectual curiosity. People might actually want information. It might be easy to get people to go, well, let's go find out what's really going on here. Look at this, look at that.
Oh, yeah. The energy will be there for that because it's a very curious kind of sign, right? It's very, very chatty, very, what can we talk about kind of thing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think, just speaking of vaudeville, I mean, lately, just listening to what's going on with, the Donald Trump clown show, if it wasn't so frighteningly serious, we would be belly laughing. I mean, you listen to the things that he says and sometimes, and you're like, that doesn't make any sense. And it really is like an SNL skit, some of it. And Marjorie Trader Green and the hearing that they had late at night for Merrick Garland's so-called contempt of Congress going, and her and Jasmine Crockett going Marge started it. I mean, it's hilarious.
Giuliani getting served with a subpoena at his birthday party after he'd been hiding. I mean, yeah.
Someday, hopefully, when we're all looking back at this, like, oh my gosh, we won't believe how funny it was. That's how I like to look at it. When I get out of the fear mode, like, we need to be paying attention. It writes itself. The comedy writes itself. The late night hosts are having a field day. So it sounds like we're going to see more of that kind of, it's a Gemini is a jovial kind of an energy too, and a little unpredictable.
It can give you the ability to laugh at what's going on, or to make light of it, or make jokes about it.
Right. So we'll have more of that. It sounds like, which we need. We need the comic relief. That's why we have dad jokes on PNN. It's just kind of morphed in there. My viewers are responsible for that. Thank you. It helps. So so today we found out that the loser decided, lo and behold, he wasn't going to testify. Ha ha ha. Were you surprised?
I would have imagined that his attorneys would have thrown their bodies on top of him if he'd actually tried to do that. I mean, it's the defendant's choice, but
he always chooses to be in the limelight, though. So he must be quite nervous about the risk of what would happen if he had testified. And there wasn't really any need for him to testify anyway, right?
No, I don't think so. But I do want to sort of bring a little astrology into this. The final arguments are scheduled for next Tuesday, the 28th.
Yeah.
And they'll probably be most of the day. There is an astrological event on the 29th that I have pointed out quite a bit. Mars is going to it's going to trigger the April 8th solar eclipse in Aries. And I will, now, just to give a framework here, there are a lot of counts. There are a lot of indictments. There are a lot of charges that the jury has to deal with. And from a logical point of view, when they have to go in, they have to elect a foreman. They have all this like
busy
paperwork they have to do. And then they go through it count by count by count. And there are more than 30 counts.
Right.
However, that said, I won't be surprised if a verdict comes down on the 29th. If it
should I ask my pendulum? I have.
Why don't you ask the pendulum?
Will we get a verdict next Tuesday?
No, Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Will we get a verdict on Wednesday? Yes, it does look like we will.
Here's the next thing. That Gemini new moon that I've been talking about, which is on, I think it's June 2nd, 4th, excuse me, has, it's right on top of Trump's Uranus, the planet of complete unpredictability, and it's in his house of public reputation, his career house. I will also not be surprised if sentencing comes down on that day.
And he could go to prison, correct?
In a perfect world, yes. Probably that is not what is going to happen here. I mean, he may get house arrest. He may get an ankle bracelet so that people know where he is. I'm not holding my breath for his actually being, his attorneys are going to want him to be out on bail pending appeal, and he will appeal. But so just for grins, you ask your pendulum, will he get his sentence on the Gemini new moon?
Will he get his sentence on the Gemini new moon? There's too many variables in play currently.
Okay. Because his sentence isn't going to come down the day that the verdicts come down.
The sentence will be like the next week?
I don't know how long this judge is going to take, because they're going to immediately, there'll be motions, they're going to move for a mistrial. They're going to do everything imaginable. And I read a reinterpretation of what's been going on that made an awful lot of sense. People have been saying, are they trying to set this up for ineffective assistance of counsel as a defense? This is mob boss trial.
Oh, big time. Tactics. So you being a lawyer, can you explain what you just said?
What they're doing is they're trying to terrify the jury into not convicting him. They're trying to terrify the jury into what will happen. And somebody actually, I don't even know who, some commentator that I ran across suggested that all this talk about Trump falling asleep may not be the case at all, that maybe he's just showing that he's just enduring this, that he's like the capo. He's such a big guy that I'm not even submitting to this.
I think he's falling asleep.
Okay.
I do. I mean, I don't know what your sense is about that, but I feel like he's so in denial of what's going on that just kind of lends itself to, I think I'll just go to sleep. And I think he's exhausted. And I think he's the kind of person, being the Gemini, the go, 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 that once he stops, you know how it is. If you're like, you've been really busy. When you're really busy, you can go, 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 go. Like I moved, go, 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 don't stop, right? And then finally, when everything was moved, I was like, oh my God, right? Like that. So I think that it's a combination of things, but he's gonna make it like part of his brand in a certain way. You know what I mean? Like nothing can touch me, that sort of thing. Teflon Don.
Well, let me add one other thread into this that you often bring up. When the new moon will be on, the other planets in Gemini won't be there, but when the new moon is on his Uranus, That's the ruler of his house of health.
We talked about this a lot.
Right, but that's the timing of something, all right? And there's other stuff in mid-July that's another piece. And then there's other stuff at, what did I say? End of August, that's another piece. So he's got these, it's not so much trap doors, it's more like you step on something and wham, there are these things that have clasped you that are iron, like manacles hit, wham, here, manacles hit. Manacles hit. That's a good way of looking at it. But he's got a gauntlet of manacles, and he can act as if he's
Teflon.
Yeah, but he's not.
Yeah, and when you mentioned the April 8th solar eclipse, seems like it was ages ago.
I know, doesn't it?
Yeah, so much has been packed into every day. It's really hard to keep up. But you said what was going on April 8th that you said was very significant and could result in something for him. Can you kind of repeat that?
Well, on
like it was going to activate something.
On Wednesday, Mars, which is it's one of the planets of timing. Mars makes things happen.
Oh.
Mars in Aries, which is its home sign, the warrior god in the sign of that, sign, the planet of push in the sign of push and daring or whatever. So Mars is going to cross the degree. That degree was sensitized where that solar eclipse happened, kind of like it was like put tenderizer on that part of the sky, and now Mars is going to go across it and go bam, and who knows. And this is true for everybody. All right, there'll be something in your life, not necessarily bad, but that is going to set some things. I see all these all caps. What that? He'll collapse. Okay, maybe. No, that's in the middle of July that he collapses.
Or maybe from the heat at a rally.
Well, we've been talking.
Yeah, well, he almost did the other day. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
And he blamed it on the podium, and he threw the contractors under the bus. Don't do that. The poor people. I mean, it was you. Just admit it.
That's his business method. Anyway, for everybody, wherever 19 degrees Aries is in your chart, something's going to get activated that is another stage of implementing what that eclipse means for you. That eclipse had the energy of like booster rockets going off, and so now there's another level of it.
It really was. And do you think that it makes people more emotionally sensitive? No?
Well, this is a hot-headed sign, so people could be, and I'll say this weekend, I actually used the phrase, I had to put the safety on my flamethrower, because I was getting
I've been there.
Angry.
I totally know what you're saying. I get it.
I had to put the safety on my flame.
I had to reel myself in last night at PNN. People were complaining. I was like, I'm just Sicilian.
Oh.
I'm in the Northeast. I mean, to me, I'm not yelling, but to other people I am. I'm nice, though.
A question has been.
Yeah, we've got lots of questions.
When is it? Warren, it's the 29th. May 29th is the date of the solar eclipse activation. That is when Mars crosses that degree. So something big. And it's going to do this if it directly hits something in your chart, you'll know it. It may just be that you suddenly get another little boost of energy, like, oh, the IV drip of energy drink.
It could be good, right?
This is not bad. It's not bad for anybody. It's just energizing and activating.
Yeah, that's what we need with conviction, with a conviction. So we were going to look at a couple people's charts and how this full moon is going to hit and these cases. But I wanted to ask you, from a lawyer's standpoint, if you've been following what happened with Engeron and that whole, where are we at with that? I lost track.
Where we are, my understanding is that Trump found the resources to make the bond. So the appeal bond is in place. So we are going through the appeal process. Yeah.
How long could that take?
I do not know what New York's proceedings are, but the importance of the appeal bond is at least there's cash that's accessible if he loses the appeal. See, to appeal, you have to put up some kind of collateral to show that you
Right.
can pay the judgment if you lose the appeal.
And I don't know when
So,
the appeal is
yeah,
going to be.
well, it's got its own process and stuff. So, and also those of you who are hungering to see the name Trump come off Trump Tower, he owns a few units in it. He does not own the building.
Yeah, and we're hungering to have Trump out of our consciousness completely as if he never existed. That's what we're really hungering for. Isn't there a building that they're vying for taking the name Trump off? It might be the one in New York, but people around are trying to get the name taken down. They just don't like it. Understandably.
This is familiar. I can't
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
track of it all. I can't keep track of it all.
So the Letitia James thing is on hold.
Well, no. It's in process.
It's
All right.
it's on hold for as far as our perception of.
From your perception, yes, but it's
because we haven't heard anything. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like the machinery's going chug, 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 chug in the background. Yes, everybody wanted the satisfaction of her taking property, but she's got the collateral.
She could.
No, she has the collateral. The bond is the collateral. So no, she didn't have grounds to take property.
So she never will.
No, she may. I mean, she may still.
I kind of see it, but.
Well, I won't be surprised.
Will Trump lose property on account of the case with Letitia James? Yes.
Oh, well, I mean, that makes complete sense. And taking this full circle, going back to what you were first bringing up, 94 to 96, Saturn in Pisces. That time coincided with all of Trump's casinos going bankrupt and him losing all of those. So we're in the, when Saturn comes around again, you get to see, did you learn?
Ding, ding. Let's have a bell for that one. Yes.
Did you learn? Did you grow? Are you doing things differently? Are you mature? Or, oh no, okay, here's the cosmic 2x4.
So that's really cool to kind of look at. That's what was happening then. We're kind of like going through a similar thing with Saturn and Pisces, which is, when did Saturn actually go into Pisces? It was last March?
March of 2023.
Yeah, last year's March. So what I'm remembering about that time period in my own life and in many people's lives around me was we were having a huge spiritual renaissance. There was a spiritual awakening. All these people were into all these spiritual books that I have them out here on my bookshelf that have been tried and true for me. Like a lot of people, the power of positive. Well, that's older, but I just mean thought. Was energy follows thought and creating our reality and that kind of a thing. In the 90s, there was a huge sort of a wave of interest in that. And now that I learned that Saturn was in Pisces then, I wonder if you've seen a resurgence of spiritual movements. Or maybe it's happening and there's so much else that's dark that's happening we don't really see it as readily. And back then we didn't have the internet.
What I'm seeing is the rise of witches.
Oh, I like it.
Of it being a cool, open, more and more and more. Like suddenly it's this thing.
I'm going to start a band called The Rise of the Witches.
Please do.
Wouldn't that be awesome? Let's do it. What can you play?
Guitar.
Oh, cool. You can do solo?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I did not know. Kathy Beale has a lot of secrets like me. You have a lot of Scorpio?
It's I have Neptune at 0 degrees Scorpio. That's it.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's it. This is when we have secrets, secret talents. Okay, so
I just cycle through them at different times. I also have South Node in Gemini, so I'm many people. Just depends on what day it is, what year it is.
Or you feel like you just pull it out of your list of things you're capable of doing. So Alvin Bragg, you did take a peek at.
Oh
his
yeah,
chart.
Let me move it up. Hold on.
I feel victory coming for him. I don't know why. I just feel that.
Well, what I see about him is he may, by the end of the year, decide to power up and do something that has a bigger reach than what he's doing now.
But as far as this case goes, it feels to me psychically like he feels like he's ahead.
Just a second.
I don't want to say winning because it's
No, it's not
goal
what this is
isn't winning,
about.
but ahead.
But
We're looking at Alvin.
all right, so he does have the public is with him.
Yeah,
Take that for whatever you want.
I feel that with Fonnie Willis too.
Also, he's through the worst of the disruptions and the challenges, and also, but here's a weird thing: he and Fonnie Willis, no, he will have some things kind of being thrown at him. Wait, are they the same age? What is that?
Are you looking at Alvin?
Yeah, but hold on. Okay, so he and they're not the same age, but something similar is going on here. All right, he will continue to have some people throwing rocks. No. He's okay. People throwing rocks at him a bit, but I think he'll get through it, and things will be much different by next spring for him. But in terms of this, I mean, he's got elements out there that are really trying to destabilize everything. Open enemies who are trying to blow things up, but they're past the point of being able to undercut his message. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, that's kind of what they're all facing, really, when you look at it. It's like they're
also there's something you will love this. Utterly fated, Fated, at this moment. He is doing things that fit with the destiny, our collective destiny, that further our collective destiny.
in a good way, we hope.
And he's going after moneyed interests.
What do you think that would be?
Well, this is the mob boss stuff. I mean, think about it.
Right.
So and sometimes when you look at a chart, things just come flying off of it and you go, oh my God, oh, wow. And with his, and you can tell I've been not sleeping much if I'm using this much of just kind of making noises instead of words.
No,
But
we just think it takes that long.
Oh my God.
Fonnie Willis, I mean, they have what they have in common is they know the RICO thing, right? Isn't that true?
Well, Trump's the New York charges, I don't believe, are RICO. But
no, I just mean as far as I'm just talking about like energy of mob.
Oh, yeah. But see, thing with Fonnie, she's going to have really significant stuff being continued to be thrown at her from enemy after enemy, very publicly trying to destabilize her actions and knock her off course.
Well,
into next May. So both of these people are going to have a choice point. Fonnie Willis and Alvin Bragg about that. It has to do with, am I going to move on into something where I am more effective? So I will not be surprised if Bragg, I mean, he's only been recently elected, but something about his power and his reach is evolving, and something with this trial leads to something else toward the end of the year that gets even bigger. Now, and so I don't know what it'll be. Well, do you have any idea what it might be?
Well, make me work. When I think of Alvin Bragg, I think of that I heard that he was a Sunday school teacher. He's a pious man. He's a good man. He's an upstanding member of his community. And when you look at that, and then you look at the absolute bottom of the barrel slime buckets he's having to deal with, it's like, yeah, it would get old. And same with Fonnie. That's probably why a lot of people don't want to get involved in what's going on politically. It's a kind of a catch-22, because you want to see that we're living in a country where good people can live good lives and be public servants, and all is good and all is well, right? That's what we want. We don't want all this. I mean, this is like a cancer. It really is. It's like, here we are, healthy people, happy, healthy people, healthy democracy. Joe Biden's making this a way better country than it would be. We don't even want to think about, what it could have been. And jobs are up, the economy's doing great, people are good, the unions are doing great, we're ahead of the rest of the world economically, it's all good. And then, and Fonnie Willis is a good person, and Alvin Bragg is a good person, and Judge Marchand is a good person, and Angeron is they're all good people having to deal with this totally. These are like evil aliens from another planet that messing with us. Maybe they are.
Well, let me just throw in here, if you go into criminal law, if you're working in the criminal law sphere, this is what you're doing. I mean, you're not dealing with nice people.
Yeah, but however,
we're seeing extremes.
Yeah, this is a different animal, don't you think? It's a whole different animal, and I'm sure that they know they're tough, they're resilient, they're very highly competent, they're all this stuff, right? But when you have a criminal who keeps getting away with everything, and then he has all his minions behind him that are just lying, and the social media and the news media lying to people, it's a different animal. I mean, Fox is, believe it or not, the lesser of the evils, right, out there in terms of media. They're bashing Alvin Bragg. They're bashing Fonnie Willis. It's just unbelievable. I don't know if that's an astrological thing that you see in the chart.
Oh, they have very harsh aspects from Uranus. So there are people throwing rocks and trying to destabilize and trying to destroy. And it'll be over with for Bragg months before it'll be over with for Willis.
So it's kind of like astrologically in their chart, they're wired for this.
Well, with what's going on right now, there is something happening now, the interplay between where Uranus in the sky is with where Uranus is in Bragg's chart. In Fonnie Willis's case, it's between her Mars, how she tries to get things done, and Uranus just like zapping it again and again and again, and with the surprise, and there's a relentlessness to it, but you can't see when.
Yeah, I heard what they're doing in Georgia.
If anybody, okay, so I'm going to wander into pop culture again. If anyone is the second Battlestar Galactica series fan, this is in the first episode when the Cylons are attacking every 33 minutes, and nobody.
Oh, that's why I said aliens.
Yeah, nobody. Well, Cylons are not aliens; they're hybrids. They're part artificial intelligence.
Yeah, but I was just feeling like this different kind of a being. It's a different animal that they're dealing with.
But there's you cannot rest vibe to it.
That's so true. Yeah. So Fonnie,
sleeping with your eyes open or something is a way of looking at it.
Right. I heard that in Georgia, I can't even call them Republicans anymore. The fascists are rigging the systems so that they can always go after prosecutors. If they want to protect their criminal friends,
they want to protect themselves too.
True. Yeah. They're all in the same barrel. You know what I've been thinking about so frequently recently, for some reason, speaking of past lives and speaking of future lives, I really do, more and more, I'm really feeling like, how some people incarnate into just the most horrifying, unimaginably terrible circumstances imaginable?
Mm-hmm.
I really have been wondering, is that what happens to these people? Are they setting themselves up because they're so cruel and they ruin people's lives and and indirectly people die because of them, and they do the absolute wrong, most evil, cruel thing, like Greg Abbott, for instance. I wonder if they come back and they're like in a starving mother in Ethiopia or something. It just makes me wonder, because they're so like they're so evil, but they have no sense of, gee, maybe I should, maybe there's such a thing as karma. Maybe I should be good. But you don't see it in their charts, I'm sure. You don't see any like so.
Oh, I don't even try to look at what will happen.
Spiritual, like if somebody's really spiritual, that shows up in the chart, right? And like
well, there's a spectrum of the way things can play out. They could be highly creative, they could be highly spiritual, they could be completely loony. I mean, the same sorts of, they could be what's the word I want to use for it? Jingoistic is too much. They could just have a viewpoint, ideologue. There we go. Speaking of ideologue, yeah. Alito is an ideologue. Astrologically, he's an ideologue. So.
Oh, he's one. He's this cruel being. Have you checked his chart? I have to end it, 5 minutes early. So just
August and December. The squeeze is coming for him, and a complete reboot of what his life is about with the solar eclipse in October. So I would say that the situation is already set up for his departure from the court.
Do you think he'll be impeached?
I wouldn't.
Oh, pendulum.
I don't know whether he'll be impeached. What do you see? Will he be? I don't think he'll be impeached.
Well, has a Supreme Court justice ever been impeached?
Not that I know of.
Will Alito be impeached? It doesn't look like it.
So I think what's more likely is something. Let's just imagine. We know that his Lord and Master is not going to get elected. And I don't know what would usher him out, but I'll just tell you, astrologically, there are these beats that are consistent with a complete job change for him. And he's at an age where the job change would be retirement. And then early next spring, big health problems. So.
Say that evil is bad for your health.
Will Alito resign? I would be stunned if the guy who loves the witch hunters would actually resign.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He goes after like it's his mission. Before we go today, do you happen to have Marjorie's chart?
Oh, I don't have it up. But what I'll tell you, just to remind you, is so that new moon is going to start a big new phase for her, for bad or ill. All right, it's just going to.
Her birthday must be soon.
Yeah, she's a Gemini, and again, August and December, the Vise is coming for her. I've said that multiple times. So
yeah, for several people,
but she's one of them.
I keep seeing her isolated and alone and not in her seat. I do. That's just what I see.
The Gemini, one of many Geminis. We've got many, many Geminis. Also, I'll just point out in the U.S. chart, if you use the Declaration of Independence chart, the one that that many astrologers use, Gemini is on the cusp, the doorway to the house of partners and open enemies. So Gemini all this energy moving through Gemini is going to bring, it's really going to spotlight, have a lot of conversation with who our partners really are, who our allies are, and what's going on with the people who are openly our enemies, not the people scheming online quietly in little pods.
But
somewhere.
like countries, right?
But also individuals that are open enemies. We certainly know who.
I see a huge expose of I really see like there it is. There's the connection to the Kremlin. And actually, Trump, around the time of Michael Cohen working for him, all kinds of things going on with the Russians. We don't need to go into any details. We'll leave that for another show. When you look at the United States chart, as we have before, you have seen us survive and keep our democracy, I believe.
I don't see us falling apart. There are I mean, there are people who look at the chart and go, oh, we're going to maybe we'll restructure some things. But I don't see states
Well,
leaving. Others do. I don't see it happening.
well, Texas is kind of like left already, and then Greg Abbott, they're getting all those horrible storms. Those poor people down there are dying of the heat, probably literally, and now he's asking for federal assistance, which of course he's going to get federal assistance, but he needs to be nicer. But there are certain states where they have horrible governors that want to secede from the union, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't either.
I think we're going to keep our democracy. I think when you think about how much we've learned through this time and continue to learn, and how much we're paying attention, and I mean, sometimes I think I'm the only one, but there's millions upon millions upon millions of people that are involved.
Well, and the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius, which is where it is now,
yeah,
democracy was created. The concept of democracy was created in France in 1789. The notion of the middle class grew out of the French Revolution.
We're just reinventing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's a good thing. So we can go like kicking and screaming, or we can go willingly, but we have to keep our eyes open. Either way. All right. So I think that's everything, but we want to talk a little bit about what we're doing. You can go.
Saturday, I think it's like at 5:30 or something. Coney Island, USA, which is a museum on top of well, anyway, sideshow by the seashore or something. I'm giving a talk on the astrology of the Marx Brothers and their mother. My website is empowermentunlimited.net. I have forecasts for every week, new moon, full moon, and month. They are also on my YouTube channel, which is Professional Aquarian. And then I have a Patreon where there's extra stuff, extra bonus stuff, depending on what level you are. And remember that if you sign up for my mailing list on my webpage, you get a guide to Jupiter in Gemini as a download, as a thank you. I double checked all the links. They're working. So
all right,
it'll be fine.
All right. Good, you're good. Yeah, I will go there and see what you're up to for sure. Tonight is 20 on Tuesdays, a guided meditation for a healed America. Please join us. Go to grassrootsofdemocracy.com. Join us for Grassroots of Democracy. PsychicAnnetteDion.com is where you go to book a reading. And Church of Spirituality has a new channel. It's at Church of Spirituality on YouTube. If you are not watching Church of Spirituality, you're missing an opportunity to make your life better. We are dependent upon, well, I am dependent on donations and readings, and our show is dependent on Kathy Beale receiving 2 astrology readings from our viewers here. So go to empowermentunlimited.net. If she does not get the 2 readings, we will skip the next show. So it's up to you guys to support the channel, support us. We are collectively, the 2 of us have over 60 years of experience together in this biz. So thank you. Love you guys. I haven't been following the chat. It's too hard and it's too small.
Yeah, it is.
But I know that
Abbott and Costello. Okay, no.
I can feel the support. And so yeah, PsychicAnnetteDion.com. Please book a reading, and we'll see you for PNN tomorrow night and tonight for 20 on Tuesdays. Hopefully I'll see you there. Bye,
everybody.
I thought maybe a fishing boat would come in. That's why I had the window open, but it's kind of hard to see.
Oh.
All right, and thanks to Terry, our producer.
Thank you, Terry.
The song that's going to be playing over our slideshow, I believe, is my song called New World. It's on my website. You can go there and check out my music from about 10 years ago. All right. Thank you. Namaste. See ya.
I have sailed upon these waters, put my stakes into this land. There haven't been many others who can explore the way I can. I am a man of unconventionality, living on the edge of this reality.